All right, so get this. We're going to dive into some seriously mind-bending AI research today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we got this paper. It's called 2025 AI Paradigm Shift. And it's basically like a sneak peek into the future,
Yeah.
where AI isn't just, smarter.
Right.
It's actually more like us
Mm,
in the way it thinks.
interesting.
So what's got me really hooked is how they're tackling this problem of like AI energy consumption.
Right.
We keep throwing more computing power at these AI systems,
Yeah.
but it's like hitting a wall in terms of efficiency.
Yeah, it's a real concern. Like, we're reaching this point of diminishing returns with the way we're building things.
Exactly. So this paper is saying we need a totally new approach, like a fundamental shift.
Yeah, like a paradigm shift, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they're saying we're better to look for inspiration than nature itself. Like
Yeah.
nature's incredibly efficient, right?
Right.
Always finds the most streamlined way to do things. They call it the principle of least action. Think about it. Our brains, they don't just run at full power all the time.
Right.
We switch between different modes of thinking depending on what we're doing.
Exactly. We've got that quick, intuitive, system one thinking for everyday decisions, and then that slower, more deliberate system two for the, tough stuff.
Right, exactly. And this paper is saying AI could do the same thing.
That's fascinating. How do they propose to do that?
Okay, so get this. They call it the egg tray awareness model.
Egg tray awareness
Yeah,
model.
so picture this, right?
Okay.
A stack of egg trays, each one's like a different layer of information or context.
Hmm.
And then imagine awareness like flowing through this model like water,
Yeah.
finding the most efficient path through valleys in those trays.
So the valleys represent the principle of least action, the least energy pathways.
You got it. It's like concentrating the processing power where it's needed most.
That's really clever.
And wait, there's more.
Okay.
They also have this thing called the now diaphragm.
Yeah, diaphragm, what's that?
It's this central point where the past, present, and future like converge for the AI.
Wait, past, present, and future all at once. How does that even work?
I know, right? It's kind of mind-bending.
Yeah.
But think about it. Like, the AI is taking in new info all the time, but it's also drawing on its past experiences, right?
Hmm.
And even predicting future possibilities.
I see.
It all comes together in this now diaphragm to kind of shape its understanding of what's happening right now.
So it's like the AI is always looking ahead and behind as well as at the present.
Yeah, exactly. And then, get this, there are also these dynamic awareness rivers.
Dynamic awareness rivers. Okay, you're losing me a little.
No, basically they represent how the information flows through the model.
Okay.
But it's constantly adapting to the landscape of the data, right? It's like
Yeah.
these rivers are carving new pathways as the situation changes, always finding the most efficient routes.
So it's not a static system. It's constantly evolving.
Exactly.
Wow.
And here's the kicker. This model also has something called self-prompting.
Self-prompting.
Yeah, so basically the AI can ask itself the next question, like it's driving its own learning and exploration.
So it's not just passively processing info. It's actively seeking out what it needs to know next.
Right? Isn't that wild?
That's pretty amazing. Can you give me like a real-world example? How would this work in practice?
Okay, sure. Let's say we're using this model to control a drone navigating a busy city, right?
Okay, I can picture that. Lots of buildings, people, other drones zipping around.
Exactly. And our little AI drone, let's say it's got to deliver a package.
Okay.
So it needs to find the fastest route, avoid obstacles, and save energy all at the same time.
Right. So we can't just rely on like a pre-programmed flight path
Hmm.
because things are changing too fast in that kind of environment.
That's where the egg tray model really comes in.
Hmm.
So imagine each egg tray, right?
Yeah.
It's representing a different layer of information the drone needs to process, like the city map, real-time obstacle locations, weather conditions, even things like pedestrian patterns.
That's a lot of data.
I know, right?
How does it even make sense of all that?
Well, that's where those dynamic awareness rivers come in.
Yeah.
The drone's awareness is constantly flowing between those layers of information,
Yeah.
finding the most efficient path through those egg trays, identifying the least energy route to its destination.
So it's making split-second decisions based on what's happening right now, but it's also drawing on its past experiences and predicting what might happen next.
Exactly.
And that now diaphragm you were talking about, that's where it all comes together.
Exactly. It's like the central command center, integrating all that info into a single understanding of the moment.
So the drone's not only navigating, but it's also learning and adapting as it goes.
Right, which makes it super efficient and resilient.
Wow. What about the self-prompting? How does that play into this scenario?
Okay, so let's say our drone runs into something totally unexpected,
Like what?
like a flock of birds, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's got to make a quick decision, but it also needs to update its understanding of the situation.
So it's not just reacting, it's also asking itself, what just happened? How does this change things?
Exactly. And what do I need to know to avoid this next time?
That's amazing. It's like the drone is learning from its mistakes and becoming a better pilot.
Right. That's the power of self-prompting. It's
Right.
not just adapting to the challenge, it's learning from it.
That's really cool. So we've got drones that can learn and adapt like that. What else? I mean, what are the possibilities if this type of AI was, applied to more complex problems?
Oh man, the possibilities are endless. But first, we got to unpack this one other concept, unity disunity.
Unity, disunity.
Yeah, that's next.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so we've got these egg trays and valleys, awareness flowing like rivers, but what's this unity, disunity thing all about?
It's like a pendulum swinging between knowing and questioning.
Okay, give me a visual. What do those states actually look like in the model? Let's go back to our drone. When it's navigating smoothly, making sense of everything, sticking to its path, that's unity.
Okay, so unity is like that feeling of flow, when everything's just clicking.
Exactly. Everything's working together.
Okay, I get that. So then what's disunity?
Disunity is when the drone hits a snag, something unexpected, like that flock of birds we talked about or a sudden wind gust. Something throws it off course.
So disunity is like, wait, what? This isn't what I expected.
Precisely. And the AI has to shift gears, starts questioning its assumptions.
Oh, I see. So it's like it's got to explore different paths, gather more data, basically rethink the situation.
Exactly. It's all about challenging the existing model, being open to new possibilities.
So it's constantly switching back and forth, confident action when things are clear, curious exploration when they're not.
Precisely. And that back and forth between unity and disunity, that's how it learns and adapts.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just processing information, it's knowing when to trust what it knows and when to question it.
Exactly. And remember those high frequency and low frequency waves we talked about? They play a role here too.
Oh, right. They were connected to like System 1 and System 2 thinking. Remind me how those fit in with this unity-disunity thing.
Absolutely. The high frequency waves are dominant during those moments of unity. Quick processing, intuitive leaps, split-second decisions. It's system 1 at work.
Okay, so when the drone's in that flow state, confidently navigating, it's those high-frequency waves running the show. What about when things get messy and it needs to shift into disunity?
That's when the low frequency waves take over.
Hmm.
Slower, more deliberate system 2 thinking needed for analyzing those complex situations, exploring new possibilities.
So it's like the AI is literally tuning its brainwaves to match what's going on.
That's a great way to think about it. It's a dynamic interplay between those different modes of thinking.
This is seriously mind-blowing stuff. But before we get too deep in the weeds, I want to bring it back to reality for a sec. This 2025 AI paradigm shift, it doesn't just lay out this theoretical model, it talks about the practical steps too, right?
Absolutely. And a crucial point the author makes is the importance of collaboration. We're not going to see this kind of AI emerge from a single lab, a lone genius working in isolation.
So it's not just about brilliant minds, it's about brilliant minds working together.
Exactly. Experts from all different fields, computer science, neuroscience, you name it, all coming together, pooling their knowledge.
It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle. We need all the pieces to see the complete picture.
I like that.
And he actually calls for open discussions, pilot programs, right? What's the thinking there?
Well, it accelerates innovation. If researchers are sharing their findings, collaborating on projects, things move from theory to reality much faster.
It's like crowdsourcing the future of AI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another important aspect is ensuring this technology is developed responsibly, ethically.
Right. We were just talking about the potential societal impact of this type of AI. We need to be having those conversations now while it's still early stages.
Absolutely. And that requires a lot of different perspectives. Not just the tech developers, but ethicists, policymakers, the public, everyone.
So it's not just about building the most advanced AI, it's about building the right AI for the future we want.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Now, ready to shift gears a bit.
Okay, sure.
Let's talk about what a world powered by this kind of AI might actually look like. Ready to explore some real-world applications.
Oh, absolutely. I'm already picturing some incredible stuff, but I'm sure you've got even more mind-blowing examples.
Well, let's start with something that touches all our lives, healthcare. Imagine AI that isn't just helping doctors analyze images, but actually assisting with diagnoses, treatment plans, even predicting potential health issues before they arise.
So it's like having a super intelligent medical assistant working alongside doctors, helping them make faster, more accurate decisions.
Exactly. And because this type of AI is so adaptable and energy efficient, it could potentially be deployed even in places with limited resources.
Bringing high-quality healthcare to underserved communities around the world.
Precisely. That's incredible. But healthcare is just one area. I'm guessing this egg tray model could make a huge difference in other fields too, right?
Absolutely. Think about education. We're already seeing those personalized learning platforms, but imagine a system that truly adapts to each student's learning style, pace, interests, all in real time.
It's like having a personal tutor for every student, guiding them along their journey.
That's the vision. And because this AI can self-prompt, it's constantly learning, refining its approach, making sure each student gets the most effective instruction possible.
This is really getting me excited about the possibilities. What other areas could we see a big impact?
Let's talk sustainability. Imagine using this AI to optimize energy grids, manage traffic flow, design smarter, more efficient cities.
So it's not just about making things smarter, it's about making them more sustainable.
Precisely. And since it's modeled after nature's efficiency, it's designed to minimize waste, maximize resource use. We could see huge improvements in how we manage energy, water, all those vital resources. This is already blowing my mind. And we've only scratched the surface. But I do have one question nagging at me. With all this talk about AI getting smarter, more adaptable, does that mean it's going to replace humans altogether?
Yeah.
Is this like the beginning of the robot takeover?
That's a question a lot of people have, and it's understandable. But the authors actually envision something different: collaboration, not replacement.
So it's not humans versus machines, it's humans and machines working together.
Exactly. They call it augmented intelligence.
Yeah.
The idea that AI can enhance our capabilities, help us solve those problems we couldn't tackle alone.
So it's like giving our brains an upgrade, extending our reach, letting us do things we never thought possible.
Precisely. Imagine architects working with AI to design buildings that are both beautiful and sustainable, musicians collaborating with AI to create whole new genres of music, writers using AI to craft stories that push the boundaries of imagination.
Wow, those are some pretty inspiring examples. It sounds like this kind of AI could unlock a whole new level of human creativity. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on one more point from the document. It mentions this idea of the now diaphragm, where the AI's past, present, and future all converge. Can you expand on that a little? I think understanding that is key to grasping the full potential of this model.
You're absolutely right. That now diaphragm is at the heart of how this AI understands the world. Let's unpack that concept a bit more after a quick break.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about how amazing this new AI could be, changing healthcare, helping us build like eco-friendly cities.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of stuck on this whole now diaphragm idea.
Hmm.
It sounds like a really important part of how this whole egg tray model actually works.
Oh, it's absolutely crucial, yeah.
Okay, so what is it exactly?
Think of it this way. It's like where the AI's understanding of the past and the present and its predictions about the future all meet.
Okay, so it's not just reacting to what's happening right now, it's using information from different points in time to make decisions.
Exactly. It's like, remember our drone example?
Yeah.
Imagine it's flying towards a busy intersection.
Okay.
Now, in this now diaphragm, it's not just processing what it's seeing at that very second, the cars, the people, the traffic lights.
Right.
It's also using what it's learned from past experiences at similar intersections, maybe even factoring in things like the time of day and typical traffic patterns.
So it's like building this multi-dimensional map of the situation using not just what it sees right now, but also what it remembers and what it thinks might happen next.
Exactly. And that lets it make, smarter decisions.
Like what?
Like maybe predicting that a pedestrian might step off the curb even if they haven't started moving yet.
Wow, so it's kind of like it can see a little bit into the future.
In a way,
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
it is. It means the AI is moving away from that kind of basic reactive mode, just input and output.
And it's moving towards something much more flexible, much more like how we think.
It's almost like it's developing a sense of time, like a kind of consciousness.
Well, that's a pretty deep philosophical question, and
Mhm.
researchers are still, figuring all that out.
Mm.
But what we do know is this kind of AI can reason and make judgments in a much more sophisticated way than we've seen before.
That's pretty amazing and kind of scary at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely powerful technology.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from those egg trays and awareness rivers to, like, the potential impact this could have on society.
We have.
But as we wrap up, I want to bring it back to our listener for a second. What's the one thing you want them to take away from all this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we're at this really exciting turning point in AI. You know,
Hmm.
this egg tray model with its focus on energy efficiency and adaptability and that incredible now diaphragm.
Hmm.
It's just one example of what's happening right now.
So it's not just about making small improvements, it's a whole new way of looking at AI.
Exactly. And that means there are huge opportunities, but also challenges we need to think about.
Right, like we were talking about earlier, making sure this technology is used ethically and benefits everybody.
Exactly.
So for our listener out there who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this, what would you say to them?
I'd say be hopeful. This new era of AI could help us solve some of the world's biggest problems, things like climate change, healthcare, even education.
Right.
But it's going to take all of us working together to make that happen. Researchers, policymakers, and just everyday people like our listeners.
I love that. It's like a call to action.
It is.
Well, I think you've done an amazing job explaining all this really complex stuff, making it both understandable and, well, pretty inspiring.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking about this with you.
And for anyone who wants to learn more, I definitely recommend checking out that source document we talked about, 2025 AI Paradigm Shift.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating read.
Okay, well, that's about it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. And as always, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.